So, good morning, everyone. In the United States, hello, everyone from around the world. And also good afternoon to folks joining from Africa and Europe and around the world. Today, you're welcome to this ISI webinar all about getting ready for grad school and steps you can take to be able to ace the application process. Kind of what we always like to do here at ISI is to bring in scholars, but also equip you and make sure you're getting ready to scale the orders of what it's involved in being able to make applications to graduate school. And so we have a litany of speakers today. We have Chibuzo, Praise, and Darlington speaking and cutting across the Americas and also Europe to be able to merge all of these to give us a very good perspective as regards what it means to get ready for graduate school and all of the things you need to prepare as you get ready for that. And so by way of letting you know what the outline will be today, I will show you what the agenda is going to be. But before that, in the chat, I think we have a good number of people on the call today. If you want to let us know where you're joining from, that would be great. I'll definitely probably read out some names. Just let me know where you're joining from. And some of our thoughts are also about the fact that some of you are already in the process. This is October, so some folks are probably already writing exams and all of that. So just let us know where you're joining from. And also as we go on in the course of the session, we would have time for questions and answers where we can interact with everybody on the call. So thank you very much. Biro, you're welcome. And so by way of agenda, this is what we will be covering today. We're already doing the opening and the introduction, and then we would go into the sessions where we would have sessions from Chibuzo, Praise, and Darlington in that order. Finally, we'll take some questions and answers, give some final words, and then we can close out for the day. Ayola, you're welcome as well. I'm glad you let me know that because I had called you Bakao earlier, but I'm glad you let me know it's Ayola. Falakemi, you're welcome as well. And so without further ado, to be able to dive straight into what we have, I would start out by introducing the first speaker, and we will take it up from there by reading the profile of the first speaker. Ayodele, you're welcome as well. I think I'll stop it there. I know you're welcome, and then I would read the profile of the first speaker as we get started. So our first speaker today is Chibuzo Igweonu. Chibuzo, I never actually quite asked you how I should say your last name, but now I just remembered. But Chibuzo Igweonu. Chibuzo is a petroleum engineer and a 2022 I Scholar. He's currently pursuing his master's degree at Louisiana State University. As a research assistant in Louisiana State University's Unconventional Resources Group, he works to understand the thermal, hydraulic, mechanical processes in enhanced geothermal systems. Chibuzo graduated with first-class honors from the Federal University of Petroleum Resources, FUPRE, in Delta State, Nigeria, where he earned his bachelor's degree in petroleum engineering. And prior to coming to LSU, he gained professional experience at Sterling Exploration and Energy Production Company as a well cementing engineer before moving to Deloitte, Nigeria, where he worked as an associate in the financial advisory business unit. Now, aside his academic work, he's actively involved in volunteering activities with the Society of Petroleum Engineers, formerly called SPE, and other non-profit organizations here in the United States of America and in Nigeria. At his leisure, Chibuzo enjoys connecting with family and friends, as well as reading the news. Please join me as I welcome Chibuzo to take us on the first session that we'll be having for the day.
Well, thank you very much, Mayokon.
And then I'll stop sharing now so you can share your screen.
Okay, thank you very much. You pronounce the name, it's okay.
Okay, so I got it right, is what you're saying.
Yeah, to an extent, yeah.
Okay, so I'll take a 6/10.
Yeah. So good day, everyone. My name is Chibuzo Igweonu. I'm a master's student. Let me on my video. I'm a master's student in Louisiana State University, and I'll share my screen. And today we'll be talking about, we'll be looking at strategies for effective school selection and cold emailing. Can you see my screen? Okay.
Yes, we can. Sure.
Okay, so we're looking at acing the application process, strategies for effective school selection and cold emailing. Yeah, so what we'll be looking at today, we'll be looking at just introduction, school selection, how to know the right school you should select. Then we'll be looking at cold emailing, then conclusion. So just a brief introduction. Why graduate school? Why do you want to go to graduate school? Or why is this necessary? Because to apply for graduate school, graduate admissions is not an easy task. Yeah, it takes time, it takes effort, takes research. But why should you be committed to it? Number one, it provides you access to quality education and research. It gives you global opportunities. Yeah, once you come over, you have the opportunity to play at the global stage. You meet all those companies, you see them, you see the people that are handling everything. So it gives you global opportunities, and also it can change your life. Financially, it can change your mindset, how you think, how you see the world. So graduate school, applying for graduate school is a good thing. It's something good to do, and it's something worth you being committed to it. So we look at school selection. So school selection. So most times people meet me, they ask me, oh, I want to apply for graduate school. What should I do first? What this was that? I usually tell them the first thing to do is know what you want to study. So that's the first thing. When you are thinking on applying to graduate school, know what you want to study. So what course do you really want to do? I know someone that met me, he has a bachelor's in physics, but he has been working in the oil and gas industry for a while. And he told me, well, Chibuzo, I don't want to do physics. I want to do something relating to petroleum engineering. I said, that's okay, that's good. So the first thing, identify what do you want to study, and also what research do you want to focus on? Very important. What you want to study, then what you want to focus on. Then also you look at what's your background. What did you study in your undergraduate? Are you switching from maybe science to engineering, the sciences to engineering? So all those things, you have to look at it while you want to now make your research for the school you intend to attend. Then also you look at your GPA. What CGPA did I come out from school with? Did I come out with a first class? Did I come out with a 2.1? Did I come out with a 2.2? So all those things you have to factor it in, and also the kind of degree you have. Do you have a BSc? Do you have HND? Do you have ND? I've heard some people that from HND, they were able to get master's, PhD scholarship. So all those things you have to factor it in, because not all schools allow, I don't think all schools allow that. So then you go ahead and search for the school. So when you are searching, I've said it, you base your search on, number one, your background, the course you want to study, and your research interest. Also, you base it on your budget. I will explain why I'm saying your budget. And also you base it on the admission requirements and on your academic capacity. Every one of us are not gifted the same way. Some are more gifted especially in some ways, and some other have some strengths in some other aspects of their life. And so you see some people, they want to go into, oh, maybe I want to apply for Stanford, I want to apply for this, I want to apply for those top schools, MIT and all. And then it's not all of us that may go to MIT. It's not, I'm not saying someone that has a lower grade can't get it, but so that you conserve your application fee, and so that your applications can be more strategic. So you also base your school selection on your academic capacity. So when searching for schools, you use I usually tell people just Google it. You want to study maybe petroleum engineering. Let me give okay, sorry. How do I exit this full screen?
Choose what I try to do.
I want to exit full screen.
If you press escape on your keyboard, it should.
It's not working out. But, okay, I just want to show something. I'll stop.
You stop sharing and try again.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. I stop sharing. Okay, let's just continue. So I just wanted to show how you can Google search, how you can search for something. You want to study maybe mechanical engineering, you want to study petroleum engineering, just open your browser. Just click and type in schools that offer mechanical engineering in the US, and it comes out. You see the different schools and the different schools, different ranking and all. Or you can use this website that I put here, that's www.4icu.org or www.usnews.com. I would have loved to show.
I mean, I would love that as well, but I'm surprised that you cannot exit out of this. So if you click on the screen that's showing the slide, are you able to go forward by just clicking on the screen?
So yeah, I'm able to navigate.
If you press escape, it should exit the slides.
Okay,
yes.
Yeah. So okay, so now I want to search for a school. I just click on. I'll just click on schools in the US that I want to do petroleum engineering, that offers petroleum engineering. And you see different schools. I go here. I click on this. I see University of Texas, Texas E&M, Colorado School of Mines. Note that you see their ranking. This is second in petroleum, third. You see this third, Stanford. You see University of Oklahoma, and then that's how to do it. So you just Google search for the school. Maybe you want to study mechanical engineering. You search schools in the US that offers mechanical engineering, and it brings out a list of different schools that offer mechanical engineering. So then you make a list of those schools. Then, or another way you can do it, you can use this site here, that's 4icu. This one gives you different schools in different countries. You have North America, Latin America, Europe, Africa, Asia, and then what have you. So I want to go to a school in North America and United States. It lists it by states. You have Alabama, Arizona, and what have you. So maybe I want to go to something in Oklahoma. I click on Oklahoma, and it brings out the list of schools in Oklahoma. I want to go to I want to check out University of Tulsa. And it brings it out. And you can access their website. Or you can use this website also, www.usnews.com. Let's also check it out. Yeah, you want to search for US schools. So I just search for US schools. Well, I search for US schools. And it brings out list of schools in the US. And here it ranks it based on the best universities in the US. So you see, you have Princeton, you have MIT, you have Harvard, and the rest. So you look at their admission requirements, very important. You are switching maybe from physics to engineering. You need to know, oh, is this possible? Is it allowed? What are the requirements for this school in terms of their CGPA, the statement of purpose, the SOP, the letters of recommendation, and how can you search for admission requirements? Just Google search, keyword search, just type on them, admission, graduate admission requirements or maybe you want to go to Louisiana State University. Just have them. So takes you there, graduate admission requirements, and you see it here. You see their GRE requirements, your CGPA requirements and all. So the best bet is just to Google search, or you can use this site. These sites, they help you group the schools. And for these sites, they also have links to the main website. So you can always go to the website. Then you try to get the email address of the admission coordinator. Like there are some things that may not be clear to you because some of these websites are really, they're really confusing. So that's why I usually say, just Google search, type what you want to search, type it out. Maybe you want to type on GRE requirements, type out what is the GRE requirement for graduate admissions at so university. And it brings it out for you. Alternatively, you can get the email address of the admission coordinator. Just search on admission coordinator for petroleum engineering at maybe University of Oklahoma or University of Tulsa, and the profile of the person comes up. Then you send an email to the person. Oh, my name is so and so. I'm an international student from maybe Nigeria or anywhere you are. Then you tell them your complaint. Oh, I want to apply to this school. I want to apply for MSc in so department. That was the admission requirements like. And also, can I switch from this degree to this? Do I have a HND? Can I get a PhD offer and the rest? So get the email address, send them an email. Then it's always good to make a list so that you will not be lost on the schools you've reached out to. So you make a list, see my sample here, or the schools you want. So you can just make a list of the name of the school, the application start date, the end date, the application fee. That's why I said your budget also. Remember, we talked about budget here. So you need to know the application fee for each university. Some are like $50, some $70, some the application fees are waived. And some you can actually email them and ask them that, do you guys offer application fee waiver? So application fee, if it's waived, you put it there, not waived, you put the amount, then you check on the GRE requirements, the TOEFL requirements, then the number of recommendation letters. Some schools, I think I've seen a school that they say, oh, just 2 recommendation letters. But why some? Most of them, they want 3 recommendation letters. So you look at the number of recommendation letters and no. So I always advise people that randomize your list. Don't only pick, oh, when you go to the site, you see, oh, these are the top schools. And you go and pick the top 5 and apply. You can pick 3 top, 3 at the middle, and 3 bottom. If you apply strategically like that, you see that you will surely fall into one of the categories. Yes, it's very good to go to a top school, but if you get any other one, you are, let me say you are fine and you are good as anybody that goes to the top ones too. So Let me recap on school selection. So you look at your background. What did I study in the university? What degree do I hold? Do I have a HND or a bachelor's? Then you look at what do I want to study? Just like petroleum engineering, is not all schools that offer petroleum engineering. So you look at what did I study in my undergraduate and what do I want to study and what research do I want to be involved in? Then you also base it on your budget. What's my budget for this application window? Maybe you have up to like maybe $200 to apply, or you have $500 to apply. So you need to pick schools that you look at, some that give waivers. Why you look at, oh, this one is $50, this one is $70. Just look at your budget. Then also you look at the admission requirements. What's their GPA range like? Oh, are they looking for someone that had a 3.0 over 4.0? So with my 2.1, with my 2.2, can I get an admission in that school? There are some schools that will give you admission, while there are some schools that won't. So that you don't waste your application fee, you look at the admission requirements. Oh, there are requirements for GRA. Some, they say, oh, in your quantitative, you must have 155. You have to look at that, because if you have 150, certainly they will not give you the admission. Then you also base it on your academic capacity. What I mean is that the CGPA you came out from school with. Some, they want very high students, have this, have that. So you can also apply for the lesser schools. That's why I said randomize your search. You have the top ones, the middle, and the bottom. So you just pick from, when you search, pick like 3, 3, 3, or as many as you want. But I always advise, don't apply to so many, because let me say, it's good to have, like, you'll be strategic in what you want to do on your application. Be very strategic. Oh, know that, oh, this school, I pick this one, I pick this one, I pick this one, and I'm focusing on this. And so you don't just spread applications around. So then, cold emailing. What's cold emailing? What's this? So it is the act of sending a mail to someone you don't have prior connection with. Maybe you just got the person's email online and you just send a personalized email introducing yourself, your skill set and all, and your request, what you want from the person. Why is cold emailing important? It's one of the quickest ways to get an assistantship offer and admission. Yeah, if you reach out to a professor and they like your qualifications and all, and they think they can work with you, it's one of the easiest ways to get an assistantship. And if they agree to work with you, yeah, you can easily get an admission offer. So also you get to work with someone whose interest aligns with yours, because you search for them and you compare their interest with what you want to do. So it's very easy to get someone whose interest aligns with yours. That's one of the important, let me say, the benefits of it. And also, some schools require you to get an assistantship. Schools like University of Tulsa, I know for the petroleum engineering department, even if they give you an admission, especially for masters, you have to reach out to their faculty for assistantship offers. So some schools, they require that. Then when should I start sending cold emails? I said the best time was yesterday. You should have started yesterday, but the second best time is now. Start now. We're already in October, and then the application window for 2024 is already open. And I think by November, December, and some January, some schools will start closing them. And so you would like to start now to express your interest in working with any faculty whose research aligns with yours. So how can we go about it? So the first one is go to the first thing, you have to go to the school's website and research about their faculty. then find the one whose interest aligns with yours. For example, I want to do something in petroleum engineering, and maybe I want to go to Louisiana State University, for example. So I'll just type it, Google search, petroleum engineering faculty at Louisiana State University. And it brings it out for me, because if you want to just go to their website, moving around, it can be confusing. But when you just do keyword search on Google, it brings it out for you. So you just click on it. Then you see all the professors, you see their names, you see their profile. Then, for example, oh, I see this professor, I click on this person, and I look at the background, look at the history. I'm interested in their research interest. Well, this person is doing something on maybe wellbore integrity, doing something on hydrogen storage, CO2 storage. Oh, but maybe you want to do something on maybe reservoir engineering, enhanced oil recovery or so. So say, oh, maybe this person may not be a good fit for me. You go back, then you look for, maybe click on this. Oh, he's doing something on reservoir simulation, numerical multi-scale modeling, numerical optimization. And then you can go further, like this particular professor, he has a research page. You can go further and read about his research and look at what he's doing and all. Also, you can read about any professor, you can read about them, just Google them, just click on Google Scholar. Google Scholar. Then let's look at maybe this professor. I want to search for this particular professor. I just come here, copy his name, put it on Google Scholar and search. So it brings out this for me. And I look at what he has been doing, his current research. This is what he did, is 2023, his current research and all. And oh, I say, oh, I think I can work with this person. Then you compose your email, you compose your mail. And in your mail, you want to introduce yourself. Your introduction is a chance to sell yourself. Tell them about yourself. Oh, I'm so, and so. I graduated with so result. Or anything that is special about you, put it there. Then you talk about your interest and how it aligns with theirs. Then also show optimism and willingness to contribute to their research. These professors that are like, when I got over here, that's when I began to understand how it works. They are bringing you here, they are paying your fees and giving you stipend so you can help their research. You help them to carry out research and also publications and all. So you have to show them how you can contribute to how they can benefit from you being on their team. So you have to show that optimism, that willingness. Then you tell them about your long-term goals, what you want to do. Maybe, oh, you are a master's, you want to go for master's, but you would like to go for PhD and all. Show it to them there. Then important things to note. First, keep it short and concise. There's no need for writing so lengthy emails. Most of these people, they are very busy, very, very busy. And at times, they may not even have the time to read all those long emails. Yeah, some people say, oh, go to their Google Scholar, read any publication they've done, and then try to summarize it and all. Yeah, if that works for you, fine, but just keep it short and concise. But the most important thing is have something that stands out. Yeah, I remember there are some of the professors that I've reached out to, I spoke to when I was still applying. And when they contacted me back, when we had like meetings, they oh, Chibuzo, this thing I saw in your CV stood out for you. Oh, I saw this, I saw that. Can you explain more about this? So have something that stands out. Also, attach your academic CV. Don't forget to attach your academic CV. That's what they used to, it's not just what you write in your mail, but they also use that CV to, at least it gives them an overview about your accomplishments and your capabilities. And also aim at sending it in the morning. Yeah, aim at sending it in the morning by, you can schedule your email to send maybe in the morning, early in the morning, so that when they are coming to the office or when they open their laptop, because they get a lot of mails. I want you to know that you are not the only one that is applying. People from Asia, you have the different people all over the continent that they are also applying for this. So they get tons and tons of emails. So you are aiming at, oh, I want my email to be read. So you look at sending it in the morning, maybe by 8 or 9, when maybe they are just getting to their office and oh, they can have time to go through their mails. So look at sending it in the morning, then also send follow-ups if you don't get a response. Some people, they just send email, they just send one and they leave it at that. But try to send follow-ups. You can send the first one, after some time, send the second one, and that. So this is just a sample of a code mail that I used. So see how I wrote my own. I said, dear professor, you put the professor's name. I trust this mail finds you well. I told you the first paragraph, that's like your introduction. Use it to sell yourself. So I am so and so, a prospective graduate student from Nigeria. I completed my bachelor's degree in your course, maybe petroleum, mechanical, what have you, you put the name of your university. So I graduated as this in my department and I won this award. So I'm interested in applying to maybe MSc program, PhD program in this at the university you like to go. And I'm interested in joining your research group. So you can see how my email is very short and very brief, and yet it got me what I wanted. So, but you can make your own longer. Some people, they can read about the professor, just have something that stands out. Somebody can read about the professor, read about his papers, summarize it, and include it in their email. For me, I was sending to different professors. So doing that for all the professors, how many maybe you want to send to, you send to like maybe 10, 15. So all the professors, you have to be reading their material. So I just wrote very short something that just highlighted few points, and I did the remaining work on my CV. So I told her I looked at your profile and I was excited about the research and teaching I can get by working with you. Your interest aligns with mine. Then I said, more specifically, your interest in these enhanced oil recovery methods. As a young engineer, I see this and just how it can help. Then I just finished by telling them my long-term goals. Oh, I strong desire to do this. I see you as a match to my ambitions and love to work with you. Then onwards, after the completion of my program, I would like to continue in my PhD and contribute to this. Why I'm saying this is that most professors, they prefer taking people with PhD. And most of them, they like working with people that have like long-term ambitions to work with them. Why? Because they want to also get something from you. They are investing in, like, they pay your tuition, your stipends and all. They need to get something back from you. You need to show how you can contribute to their research. And if you just do a master's 2 years, well, you may not be able to fully to contribute meaningfully to them. You need to show that long-term goal. Oh, I want to continue in this, I want to continue in that. But if you want to stop at a master's, fine, that's good. But just show them your ambition and the enthusiasm of working with them. So kindly let me know if it's possible to pursue this research in your in your graduate program. Then don't forget, attach your CV. I'm coming back to this send follow-ups. You may send this and maybe you don't get a response. First day, second day, third day. I think I usually allow it maybe like a week. After a week, I can send a follow-up. And my follow-up email can be like, oh, dear Professor, what have you? You are doing fine. Maybe you can say, oh, I sent a mail. I don't know if you had the opportunity to look, or you can just say, I sent a mail earlier requesting for this and this. I don't know if you had the opportunity to look at it. Maybe I know you have a busy schedule and what I've just composed something and send to them as a follow-up. You may not even get a response after the second follow-up. Send the third one. You can wait again a week. Send the third one. And if maybe after the first follow-up and the second one, you don't get a response, then you look for another professor whose interest aligns with yours. Most times, those professors, they saw your email. Some of them, they don't see it. Why some, they see it, but you don't have the skills and the skills they are looking for. Just like, for example, in my research group, my professor is looking to hire students, but he's looking for a specialized skill. And if you are sending applications and you don't meet what he's looking for in a student, he may see your email, he may respond, but some of them, they may not respond. They see your email, but you may not meet you may not meet the requirements they are looking for in the student they want to accept into their group. And that's why at times they don't respond. So remember, for cold emailing, keep it short and concise. Have something that stands out. It could be in your email, it could be in your CV. Just let it stand out. Because I've had interactions with professors and they tell me that, oh, Chibuzo, this is what made me to call you. I saw this, I saw that. Explain this. Oh, what about this? I looked at this, I looked at that, and you explain to them. Also attach your CV. Look at sending it in the morning, then send follow-ups if you don't get a response. So extras.
Chibuzo,
yeah.
You have about 30 more seconds. Could you try
okay.
to
Okay.
Thank you.
Then extras, just prepare for graduate school. That's learn the skills, condition your mind. Don't mind that thing they say that, oh, tutu in Nigeria is a first class here. That's a lie. Know that you are coming here to work and then learn the skills necessary. Then in conclusion, if you want to be successful, not just in this grad school, if you want to be successful in anything, I have 3 tips for you. Number 1, do what the average person wouldn't want to do. Yeah, the average person will give excuses, oh, I'm working and all. Do what they don't want to do. Be consistent about it and be prayerful. And I will end with this quote by my mentor and pastor, Oluwatimileyin Ayodeji Lucas. He usually tell me, awake the giant in you. Nobody will do it for you. Yeah. Nobody will do this research for you. You have to do it by yourself. People can advise you, people can guide you, but the bulk of the work lies in your hand. And don't be disappointed when you get maybe setbacks, no response and all. Keep on pushing. You'll get your desired result eventually. I think I bring my talk to a close, and if anyone has any question.
Yes. Yes, thank you very much, Chibuzo. Without mincing words, that was loaded. That was a lot. All of what you took from the top down to the very base. Thank you for making it very practical, and so people can relate with it. We are, the thought is to have questions at the end. And we also have people who have put questions on the chat. So if you want to like go through the chat and probably look through some of the previous messages and give your thoughts on that, that would be great as well. while we move on. But we would have a concise time for questions and answers at the end of the session, like when we've had all three speakers speak.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Okay. Should I take on any question, or I should?
So I'm saying we will take questions after all speakers have spoken.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but for right now, if there are any questions on the chat, you can go ahead and just engage in the chat to like type and chat with people. Thank you very much. So if you stop sharing, I would share, and then I would read for the next speaker. Thank you very much, Chibuzo. That was great. We're moving on now, and so for the next speaker, I would be telling you about the next speaker. So our next speaker is Praise. Praise Ibukolo Olafemio is a 2021 high scholar, and she's a current master's student at the Department of Pharmaceutical Sciences in Southern Illinois University in Edwardsville, USA. Having earned a bachelor's degree in anatomy from the University of Ilorin in Nigeria. During her undergraduate years, she conducted research exploring the therapeutic potential of plant products, and this experience ignited a passion for drug discovery, particularly for diseases of global significance, and led her to transition into the field of pharmaceutical sciences. At present, our focus lies in unraveling the intricate molecular mechanisms underlying neurodegenerative diseases, and our ultimate objective is to identify novel drug targets in this challenging field. Beyond our academic pursuits, Praise cherishes spending quality time with the family, whether it's embarking on outdoor adventures or simply enjoying a movie night at home. These moments provide the perfect balance to our scientific endeavors. And so moving on to our next speaker, Praise, you're welcome. You have the floor now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. Hi, everyone. I'll share my screen right away. Okay.
Yeah, we see your screen now, please.
Thank you. So I'll be speaking on crafting CVs and obtaining recommendation letters that shine, which will be a continuation from where the last speaker stopped. So, just a moment, I want to remove this from the top of my screen. Okay, yeah, so preparing for graduate school in terms of the documents required is tough. And for me, most of the strain came from having to decide which schools to attend, having to meet up with the multiple requirements, the deadlines, and particularly diverse and sometimes conflicting ideas on academic Twitter and LinkedIn. And what I mean by this is you would see someone talk about, oh, this is the way to go about it. When you want to write your personal statement, you start with a story. Another person who is also maybe a graduate student or someone that also has some sort of experience might say, oh no, ditch the whole story experience, go straight to the point. We're interested more in your academics. And then as someone trying to know, what do I decide on? It can be really tough. And knowing what exactly to put on your graduate school application requirements can be very tough to decide. But one thing that I believe works is what is on my next slide, which is when crafting your graduate school application requirements, remember that remember that the school's requirements holds the utmost importance. So this is like, even if through all my presentation, this is one thing that I want everybody in this room today to get, that whether it's your personal statement, whether it's your CV, whether it's your whatever other requirements, like documents you're going to be submitting to graduate school, what the content of those documents should be informed first by what your school wants to see, not what someone else thinks should be on those documents. So I like what the last presenter has said and the way he actually went to those schools' websites to try to find out what it is that they are looking for. Like he said, these people are paying you. They want you to do their job, not your job, first of all, if you think of it that way. So you must try to make yourself fit for that position that it is that they are looking for. So an example would be, I'm talking about CV. So even if your resume or CV has about 4 pages, 5 pages, and the school specifically states that they only require a CV with just 2 pages, so it just clearly states that you have to fit in all those your experience into the ones that the school considers to be what they are looking for, and then submit just a 2-page document. And even this statement holds throughout even graduate school, trying to look out for instructions and following the instructions. So what is your school's expectation when it comes to your CV and your recommendation letter? So I'm just going to go through this website. So this is one of the schools I applied to, University of Chicago, and on their cancer biology program, they stated how to apply, what we need from you. So the first speaker has already talked about how to navigate websites, so I'm not really going to go into those details. But this is just stating that they require transcript, letters of recommendation, statement of purpose, but they specifically went into details of what they are now looking for, which is in this link. So here they said that there are some components that are vital to them. So number 1 is academic. So it shows that whether on your CV, your academic experience should be your academic experience should be clearly explained, research experience, then motivation. This is for your personal statements. Then they want to see some sort of leadership and mentorship. So you see some schools that are more, maybe they are more interested in people that are academically inclined, and they may not really want those with clearly stated. It doesn't mean you should not include it. But for a school to clearly state that they want some leadership and mentorship experience, it means that it is vital to them, and they want to see that. Even if you feel that, oh, I'm just going to be working in the lab, what do I need leadership for? It means that they want to see some sort of leadership and mentorship, service to the community, volunteering. That means it is something that is core to this school and program, creativity and innovation, and the list goes on. So they now also went on to say 3 letters of recommendation are required. And the last statement is what I want to highlight. We encourage you to share these guidelines with your references to inform them about the whole suite of attributes.
Grace?
Yeah.
I think what you're saying, you're not sharing that screen.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yes, I think you're only sharing the PowerPoint.
Okay.
Yes.
Oops.
No, that's fine. I just want to be sure we're connected to you.
Yes. Yeah. So this is what I was saying. I'm so sorry.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. So we encourage you to share these guidelines with your references to inform them about the whole suite of attributes that we would consider. So I'm really sorry. You can just go through the link and see what I was saying after the webinar. So this means that they want your application tailored towards these subsets that they have mentioned. And so this should be your starting point, not necessarily what you have seen, not first what you have seen online. So I appreciate the amount of resources that we have available online. I mean, it's a whole lot, but how to select what should be your template, what should be your guide, should come from your school. So you move from your school and then try to use, first of all, check the requirements before now starting to prepare your own document and using other resources just as a supplement, not as the starting point or reference. I hope that point is gotten. I will stop again. Yes, so for the CV, some things to do to keep it as brief as possible. use action verbs. So I'm going to show an example of a CV and then explain how this reflects in the CV. Quantify your achievements. So for this example now, it is possible to just say, I taught a class of high school students, and then that's it. But then this example says, tutored a class of 200 students for an external examination that resulted in a record of 75% excellence. This quantifies and shows more impact than just writing, I taught in this class or I taught this class. It shows what you did and how what you did made any impact to the people or it doesn't have to be people, it could be research. So just trying to include numbers, include impact, include percentages would help to show more impact and communicate more impact to the person reading your CV. Another thing I want to highlight at this point is trying to use terminologies that are common or that your reader would understand better. For example, here in the US, so maybe in Nigeria as an undergraduate or whatever, maybe a master's student in Nigeria, maybe we use the word maybe invigilation, for example, a lot. So I invigilate exams, I do this. Here it's commonly called proctoring. So just trying to find out, you are still communicating the same thing, but trying to make your reader understand. Like, just put yourself in their shoes. There are some words that you say here, and then it's like they probably know the word, but they don't know the word relating it to what you are calling it. So what is it called? They're trying to check for. That's where the resources online come in. So you try to see the words, the action words, the verbs that are being used. We call supervisors. Here it might be called a PI. So you just want to use those terminologies that would show that you understand the system, and will also make it easier for whoever will be assessing your document to understand what you are saying. Then you keep your CV organized and free from spelling and grammatical errors. So grammatical errors doesn't necessarily mean you spelled code as COLDY or something like that. It could also mean you are using you're applying to a school in America, but then your English is, you're using British English in your application. So these things, you might just, you can try to, whatever school you're applying to, the country, try to adjust your laptop setting, your keyboard, and change it to adapt to the country that you'll be applying to, so that when your CV comes up, you say that when your CV comes up, it doesn't get, some words don't get underlined as red. That's just the entire point. It doesn't mean that the spelling is wrong. It just means that it is not the spelling used in that country that you are applying to. Then arrange your experiences in a chronological order, starting from the most recent degree you earned, the most recent job you are on, and all. So I will just talk about, the common components of an academic CV. The first is the heading. This is what the heading should look like: your first name and last name, your residential address, phone number, email address, and LinkedIn URL, the link. So this means, first of all, that your LinkedIn, you want to put so you don't want to just put a link to a LinkedIn page that is blank. So if you will be putting it here, make it worthwhile. Make sure that your LinkedIn profile at least reflects some of the things that you have done, some of the experiences that you have done, so that if anybody just wants to go to the link, it's easy to, it could be like like a support document again to your application package. Then research interest. This is an example of my own research interest for a school that I was applying to. It is important to know that you tune your research interest to the school that you're applying to. So at this, I know maybe some people coming into graduate school had very specific research interests that cut across all their programs that they were applying to. But for me, my research interest was, I wouldn't say it was too broad, but it wasn't very narrowed. So for example, I was interested in cancer in this particular school, but here in the US now, I'm working on a disease related to, I'm working on a neurological disease. Excuse me. So what I mean is that it is possible that you apply to, so I'm interested generally in drug discovery. I'm interested generally in biomedical science, but what exactly I am, the specifics of my research interest could vary. So you just want to ensure that for each CV, you are communicating the research interest that you have put on your personal statement, that you have told the faculty members in the program. You want to be sure that all of these things align in all your documents to a particular school should align. Then your education, things to note here is that there is a date at this column. There is, yeah, so this date here. So you just don't want to put 2022 to 2023. You want to put the month so it's easy to understand the transition, especially for when you're talking about experiences, maybe work experience or research. So it's possible if you put an experience, your first experience, you put 2021 to 2022. The second experience, again, you just put 2021 to 2023. It's confusing. Is it that you are doing the two jobs at the same time? Was one before the other? I mean, the person doesn't understand, whoever is reading does not understand the transition. But when you put months, it's easy to understand how you transition from, oh, it's easy to say this person was in school and was doing this at that time. This person was, it's just easy to understand what was going on with you at that particular point in time. Then relevant courses to the program that you're applying for. This is important, especially for someone that is transitioning fields. So for example, my bio that was read, I studied anatomy and I was transitioning to, I already did transitioning to pharmaceutical sciences. And then a lot of, worries like, how is this person going to cope? Are you qualified for the program that you are applying to? But if I write out that, okay, in my undergraduate, I actually took pharmacology. I actually took some courses related to the program I am applying to. And then I list it out here. I took some chemistry. I took some, so this relevant course should not just be what you think is relevant. Again, like I said, you go through the school website. If they are written that we want people in this program to have a basic knowledge in organic chemistry, quantum chemistry, naturally occurring compounds, they listed that. And then you see that your transcript as that you actually took these courses in your undergraduate. So you see, this is a good place to highlight it, because sometimes a lot of these documents, you are submitting a lot of documents. I don't know if they will actually go through, I don't know if they go through all of their courses from 100 level to 100, I don't know, I can't say, but it's easy to just let them know that, okay, I actually took these courses that you're looking out for, even though the name of my program does not align with what I am applying for, but I am qualified based on this. Then research experience. Another thing to see here is how organized this CV is in terms of fonts. In terms of the spacing, there's consistency, the heading, the subheadings, the columns here, everything is organized. We also see dates on this part. Then when another thing I want to highlight here is that when you are using, so for example, this job role is a present job role, you use continuous tense. So you are investigating, it's something you are doing. When it is a past role, you use past tense. You studied how plants pathogens. So you don't say study how plants when it is a job role that has passed. But if it's something that is present, so just ensure that your grammatical structure, your tenses are correct when writing your CV. And then these are what I meant by action words: investigating, analyzing, studied, travel. So you can just Google search action words in CV or keywords in CV. Just check online and you see a lot of action words that would let you, or action words in US CV. It lets you know the kind of English or the kind of words that I use to communicate some of these jobs that we do. And then you will just include it here. And then, yep. So then another thing is teaching experience, especially for some programs. So this is common components, doesn't mean it should be in your CV if it is not relevant. I'm a science student, so some people might be in law, some people could be in the social sciences where they might not necessarily have to teach. So it might be more of administration. So you try to just tune your CV towards what you'll be applying to. This CV, this column also shows what I meant by quantifying a group of 10 Boston public high school students. I did ABC I did A, B, C, and D in what I've forgotten this word. I'm trying to show, like, yeah, you are trying to show your impact. For example, if you did something in maybe, for example, there's a volunteering experience I had where I had to go to different local governments in Southwest Nigeria. So I went to 10 local governments within Southwest Nigeria, just trying to quantify the impact that you have. That's what I mean. And then led 5, this is present, lead 5, this is present, 25 students. And again, you don't really have to, in fact, don't let me say you don't have to exaggerate your experience. For example, you might feel like, 25 students is small. Maybe they're looking for someone that has tutored 500 students, and then you tweak this. You don't have to do that. You just want to show the impact that you had on those 25 students. Then you showed, this place is showing the feedback that the person got in this experience. Then leadership experience, depending again on your school's requirements, just notice how organized the CV is, how the tenses, the vocabulary is presented. Another thing is, this person did this experience in Harvard Medical School and then showed what part of Harvard Medical School it is. So you want to also make your reader on that, especially for those of us coming from Nigeria. I'll still talk about it later. I put it somewhere, how you want to clarify any sort of vagueness that your CV might have. I think I will just leave this and talk about it when I get there. Then for publication, this is another part also where a lot of people, especially in the sciences, are worried about that, I don't have a publication, I just submitted to a journal, or it's just my undergraduate thesis project that I have. You can also put it here. So if this was, this is a publication that I had submitted, but was not yet published by the time I was applying. So I just put in the title, the name of the authors, and where the journal it was submitted, and then I put the date it was submitted here. Now, you also want to be sure that you actually submitted this journal. Something I will talk about is just honesty when drafting your CV, because the CV is not the end. You are likely going to have an interview. I am going to be questioned on all these things you have, maybe not all, some of these things that you have put on your CV. It's possible that you put something here and the person is just curious that, can you send me a link to what you submitted, or can you send me a link to your journal? Can you send me a sample of this and that? So you have to ensure that everything is authentic. Don't think that it is just going to be skimmed through and they just want to see how bulky your CV is and they don't really care about the content. Then, so if this was not a publication, you can just, if it's just your thesis project, you can include this under your BSc research experience. So you include the title of your paper and just include the title and the date that it was, the research was done. So things not to do on your academic CV is include pronouns, like it's not a personal statement. So you are not including pronouns, first of all, like I, me. Like I said, you are using actual words. Instead of saying, I taught a class, you say taught a class of 50 students, not I, not me, not we. And then it's not, you use action verbs instead, like I signed, collaborated, gathered. Then do not include personal information such as your state of origin, your blood group, or whatever you think on your CV, or photographs, unless otherwise stated. Do not make false statement, which is what I was talking about. You don't want your resume to look all pink and then you appear into the interview looking like something else. You want to ensure that the person they will be meeting during your interview aligns with the person the idea that formed of you from reading your CV. You want to be able to back up and you want to be able to defend all the things that you have put on your CV. Again, another concern might be, there's this experience that maybe you have you had an experience in 2018 maybe you learned coding or whatsoever. And then in 2023, you're a bit rusty. You're not really that good again in coding. Should I now put it on my CV because it's not something I'm really good? I think I would say maybe it's possible. Yes, you can put it because that is actually an experience you gained. That was something you invested your time in. So what I would just advise is that by the time you would now have submitted your CV, when you get an offer to an interview, you want to go through all your documents again and brush up on those areas where you think that you are a bit rusty, just trying to ensure that all the things you say you could do, you actually up to date on it. I don't know if that makes any sense. Then don't add acronyms. So for example, what does NYSC mean? I mean, in Nigeria, we know what NYSC mean, but on your CV, you just put that NYSC. I taught 5 people. NYSC is school, is NYSC university. National Youth Service, you put the full meaning there, Service Corps, then you put, if you can also, maybe a line, you can put a line just to summarize what that means in Nigeria. So it makes more sense to the reader. Oh, this is something that you did. Is this charity? Is this volunteering? Is this research? Is this academic? So it makes more sense to the reader. So just try to ensure that there's no abbreviations in your CV. Then for recommendation letters, how to select those who will write recommendations letter for you. Number one is that, do they know you well enough to write about you in a detailed and persuasive manner? Will they say wonderful things about you? I think this is very important. Are they reliable enough to write and post your recommendation in a timely manner? So it is possible that someone knows you well enough, but maybe you have someone that knows you, but you know that this person is not an organized person. This person is so scattered. This person can submit recommendation letter for another student in my own portal. This person is possible that the person makes a mistake. It's possible that the person forgets. So people are, those people are nice, but that when it comes to how reliable they might be, this is not someone you want to entrust with such a delicate requirement. So you ensure that when seeking, so I'm sure that many of us are already on this phase of application. If you ask yourself all these questions about your people writing your recommendation letters, you want to ensure that they are able to tick all the dots, not just one, not just two, the 3 of them, all of it. Then there's something called waive your rights to see your recommendation letters. And I say, if you have any reservations about waiving your rights, it means that your choice of referees is faulty. Then you should go back again to the process and choose another person. Another point is that it is far better to have a letter from someone who knows you well than from someone who is famous and does not know you well. So it's possible that you are able to get the VC, Vice Chancellor of your school, to write a recommendation letter for you. But if the VC does not know you, and the VC is just going to write, oh, Praise was a student in our program, and Praise was Praise graduated with a second-class upper. She was just things that are very generic, no personal relationship. I never worked with the Vice Chancellor. I never had any experience to intern with him or anything. The people that should, so it's better to have a recommendation letter from someone who had a very direct relationship with you. In fact, your thesis supervisor should be your number one, especially for those in the sciences, should be your number one source of reference, because that is the person that worked closest with you in terms of research, in terms of understanding your ethics, in terms of understanding how you're able to conduct independent research. Your Vice Chancellor cannot say you're able to conduct independent research. Was he in the laboratory with you? So it's best to come from someone that can really say things that are personal about you. Then how to get good recommendation letters, or just tips generally. Number one is to maintain good communication. You don't want to just jump on someone you barely talk to, or how in Nigeria we have a large group of class and then the lecturer does not even know you, and then you just want to go and meet the person like, I need a recommendation letter. I mean, yeah, you can imagine how it will end. Then prior awareness, you want to inform the person well ahead of time. Then choose up to 5 recommenders. Even though some applications will require just 3 references, you want to have some sort of supplement so that in case something goes wrong, you're able to get enough that you need. Then update your referees on your application status at once. What this means is that, so I'm applying to University of Chicago, University of Illinois, I'm applying to all the schools that I'm applying to. And then today I submit application for University of Illinois. I put in my recommendation, my referee details. Next tomorrow I come, I put in my referee details on another school. So your lecturer, whoever is in your reference, keeps getting emails every day of the week to update your to put in your references. It gets clumsy. So even if you are not submitting your application yet, on all of your schools, go to the point where the referee details is. Include all the details at once so that the person writing your letter gets the email, the trigger at once. And then when the person wants to fill in your details, it doesn't get clumsy. He knows that none of it is lost in the process. Then my time is up. I will just quickly talk about what you should do to help your to like a supplement. So you don't want to just tell someone, I need you to write a letter and just bank on them to write something nice about you. The person might think that something nice about you is that praise is a very loyal person. Does your school want loyalty? Is it loyalty that they're looking for? So you want to you want to give out these documents to this list of documents to the person writing your recommendation letter, a transcript printout, your SOP draft. Even if it is not very furnished, you could give a draft so that the person writing the letter has an idea of what you are applying for. So that the person doesn't say, oh, Praise is interested in public health, whereas I'm applying for a drug discovery program, a CV and resume. And then this is very important. You should write a list of what is important for the graduate program to know. Remember what I talked about earlier about the school saying you should give the person writing your letter these tips. Let them know that they want to see leadership, volunteering, academics, and all of that. Then clear instructions for submitting the letter. Is it required via email? Will the person have to log into any portal? You should let them know so that by the time the person writing your letter is free and wants to do it, he's not getting confused that where do I start from? Everything is there. Then a very clear indication of where you need the letter submitted. So I don't recommend saying, oh, Sam, applying for graduate school, the deadline is December 2nd. I don't recommend that. Oh, I'm applying for graduate. In fact, if you can do it today and you trigger just let the mails, like go and fill in your referee's portal, referee's details on your portal today so that they have ample time. So as you are preparing your own application documents, they are also doing it simultaneously. Don't wait until all your documents are completed before you now try to submit the details online. So try to give, oh, I'm applying and then I will need the recommendation letter by November. I will need it by late October. So to give time for just in case, I don't recommend stating specifically when the application deadline will be closing. And yeah, thank you very much. I think since we are taking questions at the end, I will just hand over to Mayoko. Thank you.
Praise, that was amazing. Thank you for the load of information you had there, going all the way from giving perspective as regards clarity of what people can face in the application cycle, loads of information coming at you, how to clarify that, what your CV should look like, the sections. I think it's been a great job you've done following after Chibuzo. You guys are very practical, showing people this is what you should do, this is what you should do, and go about it this way, use this word. So thank you very much. I'm sure I would recap a number of these things at the end after we're done with questions, but I really want to say thank you for having done a very great job about letting us know on CV recommendation letters on these tips to make sure you stand out in your application. So thank you, Praise. And then thank you for giving me the reins to be able to share my screen again, because we would go on ahead to our next speaker, who is Darlington. Darlington holds a bachelor's degree in chemical engineering. He's kind of like my guy, with a first-class honors from Michael Opara University of Agriculture, Nigeria. He is a current European biorefinery master's student on distinction with a CGPA of 4.86, undertaking his third semester at the University of Bari Haudomoro in Italy until January 31st of 2024. Now, as a young researcher leaving his country for an MSc in European biorefineries, part of his prospect was to develop skills utilizing research to address imminent environmental concerns and to bridge the gap between lab scale practices and the use of simulation tools for bioprocesses with actual pilots to industrial scale production. Now, Darlington has come to develop an interest in biomass valorization and its pretreatment optimization due to its immense importance for renewable carbon sources and platform chemicals for multiple industrial applications. Darlington is a man growing in his love for Jesus Christ and his creatures, and he loves to teach the Bible. He doesn't consider himself to be very extroverted, but he likes to go shopping. He's a frugal spender, but is delighted at the sight of many grocery items. And with more money, he just might spend more. I think that's a given. But then again, without further ado, I would like to welcome Darlington up to be able to take us on the next phase. Thank you very much, Darlington. You have the floor. And Darlington, I'll be in the chat to let you know how much time you have left, what time you have left. So I'll be in touch with you about that. Thank you. You're muted right now. We cannot hear you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much.
So you say I'm your guy.
Yeah, because it's chemical engineering. I like chemical engineering. That was my background as well.
Okay. Thank you. I really want to appreciate everyone who has spoken before me. It's as if maybe after now I'll be considering coming over to the US. Okay, I will quickly share my screen. Okay. Okay, so
yes, it's coming up. We can. Yes, I can see it now. Yes,
it's okay, right? This.
Yes. No, you can put it in the slideshow so we can see all of the slideshow.
Okay.
Yes. All good. Thanks, Darlington. Yes.
Oh, okay. So I will be talking about winning statement of purpose, which we call the SOP. Usually it's known as the SOP. But sorry, can I get a situation where I also possibly see the charts, because I'm just seeing only my presentation?
So normally when you share the screen in the full screen, that's what happens. And why we want that is so that you can have like a focused mode to be able to present, and then we'll take questions at the end. Are you wanting to interact with charts as you go on? Is that what you're thinking? Okay,
it's fine. When I need to do other presentation, I will just escape, then go to those areas of my
questions. Yes.
Proper presentation. Okay, so I will be doing this winning statement of purpose. So tips and advice. So for my outline, we're going to be considering graduate school documents, specifically the statement of purpose, and maybe other documents that are similar to this particular graduate school document, because it is very, very important. And then we have other documents that are similar, so we'll be looking at the differences. And then statement of purpose for MSc and for PhD. Of course, I'm an MSc student. However, I have intention to do a PhD, so I'm strongly doing research on this also, so that I can be that perfect fit for my next application. And then I will be giving advice, obviously based on my master's degree scholarship that I obtained sometime in 2022. Okay, then there are provisions of certain resources to consult. So if you get this slide, you'll be able to access these resources to help boost your ability to put out that effective statement of purpose. Okay, the statement of purpose, it's one of the application documents that you need for grad school application. I know personally I'm in Europe, and my other two colleagues who had presented earlier before me, they are in the US. So there could be a slight difference in some of the things I'm going to be presenting, even though you could find them in literally every application. For instance, again, I'm an Erasmus Mundus scholarship recipient, And sometimes when you are applying to a program, the expectation might not be the same. Okay, we are going to be talking about the SOP. However, there are other documents that are similar to SOP you might find in applications perhaps that are outside the US, maybe in Europe. Okay, so what is the statement of purpose? The statement of purpose simply explains why you want to study a given subject topic. It could be also why you want to go into a particular program. For instance, in the US, you want to go into a particular program, say chemical engineering or whatever it is. So why do you want to do that? And then there are other documents like the personal statement. I had Praise talk about the personal statement. It's actually different from my research. It's different from the statement of purpose. So the personal statement explains why you are the right candidate for the program. There are certain other slides that contain in details these differences. So in the course of the presentation, you will get to see them. But let me quickly state that the first presenter, Chibuzo, he mentioned certain requirements like your CGPA, which is your academic background, and several things. And then even in the CV, certain things which Praise talked about, certain things were highlighted. But I want to say at this point, there are things at the point of application you cannot change about your life. It's possible to still be doing some things while applying, but there are things you cannot change in your life. For instance, you cannot change your CGPA. You cannot change the rules you have taken in the past years, maybe after graduation or where you did your internship. You might not be able to, or you cannot even change these things. But your statement of purpose is something that you can change, or it's something that you can really influence in most of your application packages. Yes, your recommendation letter will be done at the instant when you are applying. Your statement of purpose is also that document that will be prepared at the instant of your applying. Your CV is something that will be prepared at the instant of your applying. You cannot change your transcript. You cannot change your CGPA. You cannot change any past work experience. Name it, you cannot change them, but you have the whole right over your statement of purpose. You have the whole right over this particular document. And this is where you can give reasons why maybe you didn't have that perfect CGPA, okay? Because let me go to the next slide so you see some of the things. So these are differences between the statement of purpose and the personal statement, okay? So you might not have that perfect CGPA. You might not have had that perfect work experience or name it. However, you could justify them in your statement of purpose. You could still tell the admission committee, see, I might not be that 5.0 student, but I have what you are looking for. I have a drive, I have a motivation, I have something that can be of great benefit to your program. Okay, so I will quickly do a different. What is the difference between the statement of purpose and the personal statement? So the primary purpose of the statement of purpose is to provide information about a candidate academic background, research interest, and career goal. So if you look at these three components, background, research interest, and career goal, I would say you have some level of influence over your research interest. You have some level of influence over your career goal. Maybe you don't have an influence over your academic background. It is unchanged. So you still have more than, or let's say 70% of things to showcase in your statement of purpose. Okay, so in the personal statement, it is more or less, it gives an insight into the candidate's personal background, character, experience, motivation for pursuing the program or scholarship. So here you are not really so concerned about research interest per se, Okay, then what is the focus of the statement of purpose? It focuses on the candidate's academic achievements, research interest, future plan. I've said these things earlier. So then usually it's more formal. The statement of purpose is more formal and technical. I will not spend much time in this because I'm going to be doing a difference between the MSc statement of purpose and the master's, the PhD statement of purpose after this section. So we're going to be seeing why we talk about the issue of formality and technicality. So for the personal statement, it is more personal and narrative. Okay. Then for the writing style, it should be professional and have an objective tone. Whereas for the personal statement, it is more personal and introspective tone. Okay, so it's more about you. Okay, it's more about you. It's not okay. I will leave that for later. Then for the length, usually the statement of purpose is should be between 500 words and 1,000 words. Okay, whereas for the personal statement, you have a space of 200 to 500 words. Now these are like general guidelines for a statement of purpose or a personal statement, because in most programs you will not find this restriction that we need 1,000 words or we need 500 words. In some other they could be provided, but in most you might see, okay, give us something within 1 to 2 pages, and then it is advisable then you could come back to stick with these general principles and then what is required for the content of your statement of purpose. Okay, quickly, I mentioned earlier that when I'm applying for a master's degree or a PhD degree, the way I craft my statement of purpose, remember I earlier said also that the statement of purpose is like that one document you have influence over. Okay, so when I'm crafting my statement of purpose, am I going for a master's degree program or am I going for a PhD? I know for the US it is possible to apply for a direct PhD from your MSc qualification. That when you have an a bachelor's qualification, you are going straight to a PhD. If you have an MSc, you can also go to the PhD. Obviously, that's easier. But if you have a bachelor's for the US, I know it is possible to quickly switch over to the PhD. Okay, so irrespective of whichever you are applying to, there are certain expectations also. So for the master's statement of purpose, I'm going to be showing my own statement of purpose, of course, for my program, which again, I will say that it was used for Europe and not the US. And these things could be different. However, they have very, very similar principles. Okay, so for the master's degree, what is expected? It should primarily focus on gaining specific skills, knowledge, and expertise in a field. Okay, and then many master's applications seek the degree to advance or pivot in career. So discuss specific job roles or industries you are targeting. Because I applied for a master's program, I will just quickly show you what that was like for me when I talked about, when this place talks about target industries you might be looking at. Okay, so let me share this quickly. So I want to jump quickly. So this is a section of my my application package, which is, for me, it was more like the motivation letter, which you could also call the statement of purpose. Okay, because that is where you have your motivation, your career goal. Okay, so this I have researched and presented seminars on topics. I will skip this, but this is what I want to point out. Learning course modules such as classification of biomass and H2 production, will help me enlarge innovations and improve biofuel production.
I think you are talking about a different screen. We can only see your PowerPoint.
Okay.
Yes. I'm actually quite surprised about it. It feels like you're sharing your screen, not a window. But...
Okay. Is it showing now?
No, not yet. It's so maybe you start. Yeah. Yes.
It's showing now. Okay. So this is what I want to point out. Like the portion that is highlighted yellow and the last sentence there. Learning course modules such as gasification of biomass and H2 production will help me enlarge innovations and improve biofuel production process for increased yield in companies like, okay. So I'm bringing this up because, again, it's just to help explain what the master focus should be like. Okay, so I want to get skills that will help me in a particular industry, that will help me in a particular job role I'm targeting. Okay, so this is what I want to do for a master's degree program I'm applying for, and then this should be contained in my statement of purpose. But for a PhD, a strong PhD SOP emphasizes research experience, potential research questions, and interest in contributing to new knowledge in the field. I will leave this also for the letter because I have more like an outline. And then in that outline, what I will be doing is I will more like, I'm also making applications to some schools rather in the US. And then I have more like an opinion that is already formed. So I might not be, of course, I might not be that perfect, what do I call it now, command for the PhD. However, I believe that there are components which are very, very necessary in terms of research. And I'm even going to be showing you something similar in my master's statement of purpose or motivation letter, which connotes that research aspect of what a PhD SOP should contain. So you should raise questions, and then you are looking at you are also telling them how you want to go about to solve those problems. Okay, then in terms of depth of research, for your MS, you might not really need a lot of knowledge about the field you are going to, in quotes. You might not need that, but in PhD, it is actually expected. Okay, so why research experience can be beneficial with master's application discussion might be more general, focusing on skills acquired or your introduction to the field. And then for the PhD SOP, it goes deeply into the past research experience, challenges faced, methodologies used, and their findings, implications, it highlights the potential PhD research topic or question and showcase initiative and preparedness. For a PhD application, you are going to be doing research, okay? And then in your statement of purpose, you want to tell the committee that you can identify research gaps, and you can also go ahead to address those research questions that are raised from these gaps. And in your statement of purpose, you want to tell them you have the ability to synthesize. I could say your statement of purpose for a PhD application is more like an abstract to a PhD work you want to do, because you want to tell them you can identify a gap, you have possible routes which we can use to solve the research questions from those gaps, and then you are going to be telling them where the department comes in, where maybe a particular professor who has an interest in what you want to do can come in to assist you in doing that, which you say you want to do in graduate school if you are applying for a PhD. However, if you are applying for a master's, you might not be so detailed about that. You could just highlight the skills you have, and then you then know that for your career the path of your career goes. You are telling them, okay, I will want to perhaps pursue a PhD so I can broaden my knowledge on this subject after the MSc. So you will not be telling the committee in your SOP for a PhD that you want to broaden your knowledge after the PhD. Okay, rather you'll be telling them that you have what it takes to expand your knowledge in the program you are coming to. I don't know if these differences are quite clear. In the master's, I will say it again, in the master's, one of your career goals, your maybe short-term career goal could be that after the master's program, you are going to be pursuing a PhD so that you can even expand the knowledge you are going to get from your master's program. But in the PhD statement of purpose, you can't be telling them you want to expand your knowledge, because of course you will spend 3 whole years doing research. So you want to tell them the capacity you have to do that research and produce quality results within that time frame. Okay, and that will depend on the depth of knowledge on whatever you say or claim you want to go and do. Okay, so the next thing is, please, I hope it's my presentation slide I'm showing.
Yes, your slide, yes.
Oh, okay. Then we have the commitment to the field. So for the masters, why a deep long-term commitment is beneficial, applicants may be transitioning from another field or looking into gaining specialized knowledge. Okay. Then for the PhD, demonstrating a sustained interest in the field and a commitment to contributing to it over the long term is crucial. Then articulate why the specific program and its faculty aligns with your research interest. I've mentioned a few of these things, even why I talked about depth of knowledge. Okay, so I've mentioned this, how you need to some extent, know what you say you are coming to do for a PhD. However, for an MSc, it might be, you might be even switching. Yeah, it's even possible for a PhD. Remember I said with the bachelor's, you can go over to a PhD in the US, though that's not very obtainable in the Europe. In the Europe, you have to do a master's first. Okay. However, for a master's application in your SOP, you want to perhaps get specialized knowledge in a field, you could be switching, and then you want to express that also in your statement of purpose. Then for program-specific knowledge, for the masters, why knowing about the program is essential, the discussion should center on how the program offering aligns with your career or academic aspiration. However, for a PhD, show a deep understanding of the program specifics, faculty research areas, available resources, and how this aligns with their goal. Okay. Then what's the tone and style for either the MSc or a PhD statement of purpose? For the master statement of purpose, why still scholarly? A master statement of purpose might lean more towards the professional side, emphasizing career goals and practical application of the degree. Okay. However, for the PhD SOP, often takes a more scholarly and analytical tone. You know, I've said this before. So for the masters, just like I showed you from a portion of my statement of purpose or motivation letter, I told them that the skill I was going to be getting from this program, I'm going to be using it in this industry that is in my country to help them improve yield in what they are currently doing. Okay, but for the PhD, I'm not telling them I'm taking the knowledge to go to the industry. Of course, there are industrial PhDs. Okay, but it's more of even if you want to go back to the industry, you want to go back to maybe the research and development sector of that industry. So you want to tell them this thing in your statement of purpose. Okay, so you have to be scholarly. You want to find you want to find problems, you want to find gaps in what is already existing, and you want to proffer a solution to that problem that is identified in what is already existing. In the master's, you want to get the skill perhaps to enhance what already exists. So you are telling the program, if I get this skill, I'm going back to enhance. But for the PhD, something already exists. You want to tell them, okay, if I come into the program, if you don't want to continue as a faculty, for instance, you want to go to the research and development area of a particular industry, which is allowed. I could remember a site visit we had, and there was this lady who works in the research and development aspect of that industry. They produce biofuels from seed oil, okay? And then this lady had to do a PhD and then come back to improve the research and development area. So there are technologies in that existing plant that needs to be improved, okay? And then, so how do we do this? She's going back to school, she's getting the PhD knowledge, she's getting the knowledge, she's building her research ability, and then she's coming and giving them that solution of how to improve what they have, okay? So for the masters, obviously, it should focus on immediate goals and benefits, but for the PhD, there should be depth of discussion around research and a long-term goal. The PhD SOP might be longer and more detailed, okay? Remember the earlier slides, I said that an SOP should contain between 500 to 1,000 words. Of course, maybe for a master's, I don't remember what mine was like, although mine was like 4 pages because it was, they were providing different prompts than what you will see in the US schools, for instance, because it was more like a scholarship program. So they needed you to address certain questions. So it was quite longer, okay, but that might not be obtainable in the US, where I will show, okay, let me quickly go to the next slide. So what is the standard outline of an SOP from my research, okay? What is the outline, the standard outline of an SOP? So an SOP needs an introduction, it needs academic achievement, it needs professional experience, it needs career goals, it needs short and long term. These goals should be short and it should be the long-term goals, and then it should have a conclusion. So look at this application platform for chemical engineering, and then they needed a statement of purpose. But they said they needed a statement of purpose that is between 1 to 2 page, okay? So it should be between 1 to 2 pages, and obviously for a 1-page a statement of purpose, it's like 500 words, okay? For a two-page SOP, it's like 1,000 words, okay, and more, okay? However, you want to keep your writing, even though you have more than 1,000 to write within these 2 pages, you want to keep it within 500 to 100 based on the general standard. And I must say that these standards are provided by faculty themselves, who create out time to share tips on how to ace the graduate school application, okay? So this is like a prompt. I will call this a prompt for this particular application. So they are telling you, we want your statement of purpose to be between 1 to 2 pages. And then what we want to see in this statement of purpose is your background, your research interest, and motivation for pursuing graduate studies. Okay, I hope it's clear. Hello, I hope
yes,
it's clear.
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, so so this is like, of course, this is what the statement of purpose is about. You want to talk about your background, your academic background. You want to talk about your research experience. You want to talk about your career goal, and these goals should be both short-term and long-term. So this is like what you need to know about the statement of purpose. Now, remember when I started the presentation, this was supposed to cover two aspects. The first one was the tips, generals, what it contains. But I want to quickly go to the advice. So what is the advice? So this is where I will be more intimate in this discussion and more personal. So I've given the general outline. How long do I have?
Well, the time's up, but you can take like 2-3 minutes to just round up.
Okay. Time. Okay. So the few things I want to say here is the advice. When you are writing your statement of purpose for any particular program, please ensure that whatever you are putting in there fits into the program you are applying to. So it does not matter how wonderful whatever you write is, if it does not fit into the program you are applying to, then you will not be accepted. Okay, so what would you want to quickly do? You want to identify what you have. Okay, you want to your research interest. Again, you might not be able to change your CGPA. You might not be able to change positions you have held in the past, but the few things you have, you could identify them. I'm this person in my academic career. I really had this long gap year, like 5 years gap year, where I was not really doing active studies per se. And then at the point when I wanted to apply to graduate school, I was like, okay, so I had the first class, fine. Okay, but at that point in time, what do? First class was like the only thing I had. But a year before, when I was now putting in applications in 2022, I had contacted a professor from my school and told him, okay, I want to be in academics actually, and can I join you in your research? And I was doing research with him, so I was more like a research assistant to him, even though it was remote. So he sends me experimental data, and then I have to do literature studies. I have to discuss this result. So it was more like, this was like the research I had, and then my CGPA, what I have in code. So these are few things you need to identify. What do I have when I'm looking at the program I want to apply to? And then I tell you, with what you have, if you think enough, you might not have the perfect CGPA also, but if you think enough, you have enough. Okay, when I saw my program, the program I applied to, and then I had just that perfect CGPA, and then certain side research I had done. For instance, I had this MSc student who was in Canada, and then he needed a research assistant in Nigeria to do a research for the company I earlier mentioned. Then I submitted this a synopsis to him, and he picked me to do that research with him. It was supposed to last for 6 to 1 year, but we did the research for just 3 months because we got to that dead end where there were no plausible results that were coming out of it. Okay, so these few volunteer research, this other research assistantship, although it was paid within those periods, a short-term project, I could pick all of those pieces together. And then, so sorry, let me just show the introduction of, lastly, let me show the introduction because I just want to show that, sorry. Stop sharing and share. I just want to show this. Okay, so going to the introduction of my statement of purpose. Why is doing this? Okay, so for me, this was what it was like starting. In recent decades, remember I told you I had only something I did 5 years back, and then a year of research experience, and then little side researches, but I needed to apply for this program. So in recent decades, products of biological origin have served as viable feedstock alternative in the pharmaceutical food and blah, 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 blah. So I was able to start with this, which I think in a statement of purpose, you could want to, particularly when it's a research program you're going to, you could want to attract the attention of your reader to make them see subsequent content of your work. Okay, so let me stop here so that maybe in the question and discussion section I could want to.
No, you could use. I feel like you're trying to make a point. So just you could take the final 1 minute to like conclude on this. That's okay.
Okay. So what I gave you the outline of what a statement of purpose should be like. You have the introduction, you have your academic background, you have a research background. For me, it was challenging because, like I said, I think I did not have enough. But if you think enough, like I said, you have enough. So for me here, what I was doing was I was stating a problem that I know that this program I was coming into, it was what the whole objective of the program is saying we want to address. Okay, it might be so numerous. Of course, I can't do all the bioresource projects that exist in the world. But from the little researches I had done, I was going to be crafting out this portion as my introduction to my motivation letter. So I told them, this is a problem that the world is experiencing now. And this is why am I applying to this program, so I can address it, okay? And then there are other areas, like I also mentioned, where you're telling them the skills you acquire, you want to use it to improve what a particular industry is already doing. And there are also times where you have to, you want to argue your point that, okay, if I get this knowledge, this is what I can do with it. I show you one portion also along the line. Okay, this was where I talked about my research experience, even though it was remote, okay? I wasn't there, it was remote, but with presentation, that information could be communicated. Mayokun, I can't obviously do all of this now, so it's
absolutely just... Yes, absolutely, and I understand. I know, like, a number of our speakers, we crunch for time, and there is so much value that you have distilled into like this very short time. So I clearly I understand that, and kind of like what we're thinking as well is, I mean, we don't have so much time for questions and answers right now, but it's been a great privilege listening to all of what you said. And we cannot get everything in one session, right? We cannot get everything in one session. There'll be follow-up questions. So we would like to probably just take a couple questions, see where our audience, what their knowledge level is at, what questions they might have from all of what you have said, and then we can take it up from there. So at this point in time, we're going to take questions and answers. I would have Darlington come back up on video, and Chibuzo as well. Praise, thank you. Thank you very much for coming up on video so that we can have questions right now. And if there are people who have questions to ask, this is the time we would like to take those questions. So I would take some of the questions, but I guess one of the things that we would always want to do starting out, and what we wanted to do in this session, was we wanted to be able to have people have a clear goal of, if you're going to making applications to graduate school, there are so many things you pick up along the way, right? And this is how you pick them up. And so I want to say thank you again, Praise, Chibuzo, for the questions, and Darlington for the questions you've answered in the chat. So that already helps with a whole lot of the questions that we would have wanted to answer. I think people have questions about, oh, if I have like an HND, can I still apply to graduate school? Praise, you give an answer to that in the chat. And so I guess what I would like to start out with right now, as regards all of what you've discussed, the recommendation letters and all that. I see people still want HND questions, but let me just take the first question from the chat. The first question from the chat is, if you have a flexible research interest, and this is like a major limitation in selecting graduate school. I think Chibuzo, you mentioned something about that, about being in one field and deflecting. And Praise, you are a very good example of that, having been in anatomy and then going to pharmaceutical science. Can you give practical example? Can you give a practical steps of what you could do to say, yes, you probably were in anatomy, but you're getting into pharmaceutical science. You're going to branch off to something that if it could be related, it might not be exactly related. Chibuzo can also relate to the fact that many engineers are going into things like data science, and you're wanting, or some other machine learning and AI things, and you're wanting something good in that field. and you want to make yourself a good candidate, because like all of what you've said about, it's all about the same thing. You want to make sure you are the ideal candidate on paper that they want. So what advice would you have for somebody who is flexible with research interest and is trying to like pivot from one to another? So Praise, I'll let you go first since you have spoken on that earlier.
All right, thank you. So what I would say is trying to fill up the gaps that that. So when I'm in anatomy, clearly someone who is a pharmacist competing for the same position, there are a lot of gaps that will be present in our application package. So what did I do to be very practical? First is that it took me a while to build up the skills that are required for drug discovery. So in terms of, I needed to build two things. First is skills, and the second is knowledge. So knowledge is understanding what is pharmaceutical science, what is pharmacology, what is drug discovery. So to be very honest, I started a master's program in Nigeria before coming here in pharmacology. So that served as it helped me to transition really well when I got into this program, because it would have been tough without any knowledge of drugs and just getting into the program here. Having to catch up would be very tough. So you don't necessarily, I'm not saying you should start the program or anything, but whatever opportunity you have to gain knowledge, it could be certifications, Coursera, all these platforms where you can take free courses, or in terms of skills, I intern in laboratories, gaining the skills, laboratory skills that I know that I need to learn in drug discovery. And then I learned bioinformatics for drug discovery. So those are the things that that I saw. That another thing that I think helped me was my GRE. I didn't get a very high 300 test, but I think my GRE score was pretty good. So in a way, it showed that, if this person can put in efforts to get a good GRE score, it means that getting into graduate school, the person can put in effort to also succeed in a different terrain. So what I would say is that if you have a gap in this area, boost it with another area. So if you have a gap, another thing is that I was going to give it as a final one, is don't be afraid of any limitation. I didn't have a first class. I didn't have a 4.21. So it's not as if, the reason why you got it was this. So I can't change anything about my CGPA. But what is that thing I can do now that can serve as a boost for my application? Try to do it, no matter the amount of time it will take. Even if it is 1 year to commit in the laboratory, commit that 1 year, and then after the 1 year, submit a very good application. So that's what I would say.
That's great praise. Thank you for saying that. And I see Darlington nodding, because that reinforces some of the points that Darlington had said earlier. You cannot change anything about your past, right? Like your CGPA is yours. You cannot change anything about that. But you can focus on what you can do going forward and fix that. Again, you want to make sure you're a good candidate that you're looking for. What can you do to fill up the gaps? Thank you for dwelling on that. And I'll come to you, Chibuzo, for two questions. We have some of these questions from YouTube, and I would merge two of these questions. And the first of them would be about the fact that if the department's website, and to those of you raising your hands, Mr. Goodluck and Kamsi, I'll come to you shortly in a couple minutes, and then we'll take your questions. So please keep those hands raised on Zoom. I'll take your questions. You'll be able to ask in person shortly. So if you also have questions, please raise your hand. I'll see that, and then I'll call you out so you can ask your question. So it's a two-part question. If you look at the department website like you showed us, and the department website doesn't say reach out to a professor, should you still do that? Because yes, you did say code emailing can help you to get into a professor's good books. You build a relationship and it helps you. But if it doesn't say that on the website, should you do that, or it doesn't have to be said before you do it? And after you send the code email, you send reminder, you don't get a response. What should you do? What would you typically advise somebody to do if email reminders back and forth, you don't get a response? So.
Okay, thank you very much. So for the first one, if the website doesn't say you should
reach out to a professor beforehand, yes.
Why not reach out to them? It didn't say you should not. I didn't say you should. So reach out to them, talk to them. Also, there are some schools that once you get admission, they give you assistantship. Yeah. So if the school says you don't need to reach out to, some schools put it there, you don't need to contact any professor. Don't reach out to them. Focus on because for your application, what makes you stand out, your CV your SOP and your recommendation letters, and maybe your test scores, your GRE and all. So focus on that and submit your application. Some schools don't need it. But if a school doesn't say submit, don't submit. I mean, mail, don't mail. Mail them. Let them, because I think they have mailed the professor and he told me, oh, that no, you don't need to reach out to me. Submit your application. And if you're admitted, you'll be paired with a professor that matches your interest. So you don't need to, if they didn't state it, you just go ahead. And then the second one, if you've been mailing a professor and they are not responding, is two things that may happen. Number one, either they don't have any position in their research group. Maybe their research group is filled up, or they've taken the students they want to take. Or secondly, you don't match who they are looking for, not really who they are looking for, but your interests, maybe your skills and all, doesn't really project to them that, oh, they can take you. I think I was speaking to a professor and he was telling me that, Chibuzo, I do see the emails, I see them, I read them, but most of them don't meet my, so because they receive hundreds or tens of emails, so they can't be responding to everyone. So they read it, they look at your CV, but maybe you don't have the skills they are looking for, so they just ignore. But the people that have the skills, they contact them. That's why I said, have something that makes you stand out. Yeah, have something that will make you stand out. And once they see that, and if you've sent many reminders and they are not responding, look for another person. There are many faculties in the department. Look for another one, send another email, and hopefully they'll get back to you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And thank you for saying that as well. Because on that subject of like still standing out, Darlington, I was going to ask you about the next question. In your application, did you have anything like a diversity statement? Because I know you had so many niches of questions to answer in your statement of purpose, but was there anything in your statement of purpose or person about diversity? Okay, because like, I guess the answer to this question, someone asked a question about diversity statements. What topics do schools look out for? I know diversity statement, it will always tell you on the website, so just write something tailored towards what is on the school's website. I had a diversity statement for one of my applications, only one school at a time, but it's not a very common thing, but some schools would ask for it. Does any of you have any experience with diversity statements? Okay, I had it for one school, but it would always typically ask for that. And back to you now, Praise, for just one question. I know you said this then, even I thought about it when you said it, about if your VC writes you a letter, it might, even though your VC has a rank that is higher than maybe a lecturer, a junior lecturer in your school, that there could be, you want somebody that knows you well, which is very key, someone that can write well for you. And you headed up with something that was about the things that you should give to them for them to be able to write out. Some people would even say, those things you want to give to them, put it in the draft letter and let them see if they are okay with it, then they can adapt it or they can edit it to suit whatever it is. But you cannot leave it up to chance. You want to make sure they write you a good letter. So, but then it matters if you have a senior lecturer writing as opposed to a junior lecturer, or your VC as opposed to a junior lecturer. So what would you say to that? Should you still go for the best possible people to write you a letter? Like, does rank matter?
Yeah, of course. I wouldn't just go with my lab technician who probably doesn't have an official email to write my recommendation letter just because I want someone that knows me well. So I was just trying to create a balance in maybe the opinion or idea that people have about recommendation letter, to say that what matters first is the content. Yes, where it is coming from matters, because that is why they want an official email. So you can't even pick someone to write your recommendation for some schools if the person is, for many of my programs, it had to come from an official email. So maybe someone that is just a random staff that knows you well cannot write a recommendation letter for you. So there's a balance. When you have someone that knows you well and is high ranked, of course, go for that. When you have someone that knows you very well and is high ranked, yes, let that be priority. A professor before a junior lecturer, yes. But when you have, all the people that are high ranked don't really know me well, but there's this junior lecturer who is probably even doing his PhD that knows me well, as an official email. Some of these people that are junior lecturers might even have a lot of published papers that if they look them up, you see a lot of research that they are done. The two people that wrote, two of my referees are currently in the US. doing a research or something. I don't know what they are, I really don't know the details of what they are doing, but they are not like the head of department in the program. But in terms of what the impact that they have in their fields, they are really, they have high impacts in the field. So there's a balance to it. First of all, it has to be people that, if I want to check your person writing your recommendation online, what can I say about the person? Is it someone that is the amount of papers that the person has? I'm talking because I'm in the sciences now, for example. The amount of papers the person has, the person's LinkedIn page. I mean, just things that if they search this person up, it will show that this person is has some say in the field. And then the relationship you have with the person also matters. Yeah, so just the balance to it. That is what I mean. Yeah.
That's
and then
good.
if you, of course, you need to put it on an official letter, all those things like that. So you want someone that you can meet up to that standard, not someone that doesn't even have a letter-headed paper in the first place. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's an interesting point you touched on. Because is it always required that you have a letter-headed paper? Because for rec letters, as long as you have a signature at the bottom, I think it always suffices. Or what do you think?
Okay, no, it's not compulsory. It's not compulsory. I don't think the schools go into that much details to say. I think what matters for them is the official. At least what I have seen is official email. They want it to come from an institutional email or from an official email. So that is what I'm saying. Yes.
Well, thank you again for that. So Darlington, I'm then right back at you. And so for those of you raising your hands, I would try to take one or two from those who are raising their hands and maybe for you to be able to unmute, but we currently don't have an unmute feature for our participants. So it would be great if you could type in the questions. But then I will try to take one or two because of the time, but we might not be able to take all of you. I see we have about 8 people with their hands raised. I wanted to let you know we cannot take all the questions, but I will probably take them in maybe Mr. Goodluck and Kamsi, the first 2 or 3. But we still have a couple questions that are coming that we'll also deal with. So Darlington, the question is this. You have an SOP. In the SOP, you're making an argument for how you are a good fit for something. In the personal statement, like you said, you're writing about yourself and also how you were a good fit for something. You made some good differences between that. And the question now is this: if you are, say for instance, for me right now, I have a background in chemical engineering and mechanical engineering, and I want to go into research, SOP for instance, and I have to write an SOP about something. How do you deal with the fact that you can fit in one of 2 things or one of 3 things and try to narrow that down for the SOP that you write? Because I'm sure for the Erasmus Wonders program, you wrote an SOP about a specific thing you wanted to do, biorefineries. Was that what you said? Bio oil and all that. How did you decide on that from chemical engineering? And also if you were flexible and it could be anything, what would you think about to help you narrow down the one that should be your best fit? You're muted, Darlington.
Okay, so if you notice from the introduction of my motivation letter, it was not narrow. Although along the line, I tried to narrow it. For what I did is, at that point in time, my active research was on phytochemical extraction from plant matrices. Okay, so it was as though I didn't have, in quotes, all they needed. Okay, so my interest was biofuel production, but at that point in time, I was in active research on phytochemical extraction from plant matrices. There are no relationship at all. The only relationship I would say is the fact that the substrate, which is the plant, it's like the only basis. If I want biofuel, I'm going to get it from an agricultural product or a biological product. And then if I'm doing, if I'm getting phytochemicals from plant components, I'm getting it from an agricultural product. So they are all coming from agricultural products. So that was more like the underlying factor for my argument. So I started with that, talking about even the need for phytochemicals and how generally agricultural products could also be used for biofuel. So because I know that later I'm going to be telling them I have a research interest in phytochemical recovery. I don't want to throw that experience away. So I want to let them see that this is also applicable in the program they want, or the scholarship they want to provide for me, the platform they want to give me. It is also applicable for them. So I was going to start from there and then take them into that specifics I need. And why I brought that up was because I know that I will still make emphasis to that research experience. Okay, so yeah, so you mustn't really. I'm doing a writing, and this is how I intend approaching it. For instance, in plants, you can get biofuel from the lignin components of plants. I don't know if you get me. And then I noticed that
I do, yes.
Yeah. With bacteria, you can get certain high value compounds from bacteria. When you synthesize, when you culture bacteria, you can get high value compounds. Now, my argument is, when I culture bacteria to get high value compounds, is it possible to culture bacteria to also get biofuels from them? Because I've taken cultural course, like one of us mentioned, and I saw that these are current research going on. So I could want to bring that argument to say, okay, though I have an experience in bacterial culture, but I know that I could bring the knowledge I have in how it works to using the same components in plant. Maybe these bacteria feed on this plant, break it down, and then use that plant to synthesize what we want. So I have to find that way, and then I'm thinking, I said one component is thinking. You're writing, you need to synthesize this. And so I'm bringing this. It might not even be feasible, but if I can raise an argument, then it is considered feasible for graduate school application. Of course,
yes.
You should be also logical and let me say, how will I put it now? Realistic. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. So overall, make a good case for that, for what you're wanting to do. Make a good case. I hear that a lot of what you're saying. So you have to make a good case, which is reasonable, so that they can accept what your bidding is. So I thank you for doing justice to that. That's great. Praise, you wanted to speak shortly on one question about recommenders writing recommendation letters and having them vet it and not making an upload. So yes, please take that.
Okay, thank you. First, there was one question that was skipped, talking about what I meant by uploading details of referees. So what I meant was that if you've started your application and you see the application portal, you will see that when you get to a point where you need to input details of your the people writing your letters, their names, their emails, the position they do. So what I'm saying is that for maybe you have 5 schools. For school 1, you don't upload the details on Monday, upload the details of school 2 on Tuesday, upload the details of school 3 on Wednesday. The implication of that is that when you upload the details of you upload the email of the person writing your letter on Monday, the person gets the email, immediately you upload. The person on Tuesday, only you, probably the person is writing letter for like 10 students, only you, the person is getting letter on email on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I mean, your lecturers are busy people. So you just want to help them and make it easy for them. So you can start all the schools you want to apply to, start the application. Open the application portal and then go to the section of where the referee recommendation letter is, even if you are not yet done with other sessions. Then put in all the details on all the schools at once. I'm just saying it helps because your lecturer will now get the email subsequently on the same day. So if I am the person writing the recommendation letter for you and I want to fill in your details, I only need to go and check my email, and then I will see all the schools you're applying to sequentially, and I can do it in one sitting, upload all the documents I want to upload, and then I'm done. So I don't have to go again after 1 week, upload again for you, after another week, uploading, and then they might forget or miss out on one of the schools that you're applying to. That's what I meant. Then secondly, when someone says you should write a draft, which happened in my case for one, so just follow the guidelines that I said about going to the school and what they want from you. One thing I want to say is it is usually very tough when it's now the 3 of them asking you to write, because your writing style is your writing style and it could reflect in the 3. Although you might be reading it and think that you're writing something different, but there's a way you write. Each person has a way they write. In fact, you know that even from chat, if you are chatting with a friend and someone else is using the person's phone, you're likely to detect that this is not my friend that I am chatting with. So you want to be sure that you are using different styles in writing the 3. I'm saying if it's the 3, use different styles in writing those letters, and then try to spread out what is being. So for example, in one all of it will have constant, maybe all of it might talk about your academic experience and all of that. In one letter, you might want to talk about how you can conduct independent research. You might want to focus more on research. In the second letter, you might want to focus more on your leadership skills. In the third letter, I'm just saying you could spread it out. You have a lot of things to talk about. You don't have to put everything in one letter. You can spread it out. You have the opportunity to take ownership of your letter recommendation now, since it's in your hands. So you can just check for samples, and just what I would say is be very cautious about your writing style. Don't let them look like this is one person that wrote these 3 letters. Let them look very distinct, as though it was written by 3 different people. That is just what I want to say about the letter. So, and of course, it's not the lecturers asked you to write it, so they would still vet it, and then, but some of them might not really change it. Just be sure that what you're writing is good enough to be uploaded as it is, as you have written it. Don't expect that you are the one that needs the favor more than even your lecturer or the person writing your letter does. So do the due diligence in writing the letter.
Yes. Thank you for clarifying that. Yes. Write. If you get an opportunity, write a letter because as though it is ready to go. Thank you very much. I wanted to take this medium to recognize Dr. Olufemi Akombi. He's one of our. He's pretty much the one that was in charge of every one of us as high scholars. Know him. That was in charge of asking or having also coordinating all the scholars with ISI. So Dr. Akombi is on the call. Dr. Akombi, I don't know if you're able to unmute, but please, we would like to hear from you now, sir. You're welcome, sir.
Thank Mayokun, and good evening. Good morning, everyone. Thanks to all the speakers and everyone on the call. Just a quick comment I wanted to make, and has to do with the issue of, it's actually deals with 2 things that have been mentioned. One is the issue of reaching out to professor, and the other one is the SOP. To me, I think the issue of reaching out to professor, especially if you are applying to the US schools, is very, very important. And if you have followed ISI, and some of us have always preached that, to me, I think that's actually the very first thing you need to do. What I mean by that is, and I think that this is where some of us are not kind of getting the right results. I always tell people, the reason why I made that comment is the fact that, for instance, you identify the schools you want to apply to. The next thing is to visit the department. Look at the people, the professor, look at the different type of research they are conducting in that department, and figure out which one matches your own interest. And having done that, there is nothing stopping you from reaching out to the professor, whereby you create a networking. And I think one of the things I want to also inject here is, don't just go out there and copy a generic code email. Take time, reach out to, look at this professor of interest, read about his biography, read about the research he's done or the paper. Just, you don't have to go into details, so that this will be the core and part of your code email. And I can assure you, when you do this, like one of the speakers said, that there are so many reasons why professor doesn't respond to emails. This is one of the things I've seen in the past, because when you copy a generic code mail and send to somebody, you don't mean the standard, but by virtue of the fact that you go in and you mention about his research, you even mention that you've read something about his paper or something he's done and is of interest to you, I can assure you that professor will, even if he doesn't have any opportunity in his lab, he's going to respond and tell you and appreciate you and encourage you to, I think cases where some will even recommend you to reach out to a colleague of his or her that try this department at this lab, they might be. The other thing I also think reaching out to professor helps with is in terms of the SOP. If you are, when you are writing your SOP, like Darlington mentioned, especially when it comes to the US, the PhD, don't make it general. I can tell you there are thousands of people applying to that program. So if you focus and mention that you have a particular interest, and if you have reached out to the professor, many of these professors would even tell you, put my name in your SOP. Those are the things that help, because when it comes to looking at all these applications, that is when your application may be sent to that professor to take a look at it. But if you make it a general and you don't even have a particular interest, I mean, so again, whether the school is asking you, don't reach out to anyone, take your effort, reach out, just a normal networking. It might not even be something that would work for you now. You may need that networking whenever you get to the US or in future. So again, what I'm saying is, let's put emphasis on, when you identify the school, go to the department, take extra time, look at the professor, look at what they are doing, write the mail, don't make it generic. And so again, I don't want to take too much of it. That's what I have. Thank you for giving me the time.
Dr. Kobi, thank you very much for chiming in. Really appreciate your take on that as well. Thank you very much for your timely advice and for everything you do for ISI. Thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate that. And so we're coming up on I have about 6 minutes left before we really bring the meeting to a close. So I had asked all of those with their hands raised. I think Kamsi had eventually asked the question Kamsi has in the chat. So please, if you could put your questions in the chat, then we can attempt those questions in the chat. I would explore one possibility, because I think Mr. Goodluck had raised his hand about 3 or 4 times. So I would try to see if we can let you speak. So Mr. Goodluck, are you able to unmute and ask your question? We'll take maybe just that one from the audience.
Okay.
Okay.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Please go on.
I appreciate you for this particular program. Alongside when the program was going, I have to go back and review my SOP.
that's what we're looking into. Yes.
I have to find out a lot of mistake. So that I want to ask, actually, because I had my first degree in applied mathematics, and I want to use this particular course, to apply in biology now. So that is a cardiovascular disease. So I want to actually know if it's good, because I want to actually look at using mathematics to model the cause of cardiovascular disease that have been lead to several deaths in the country and over the world. So I actually want to know if this particular session I'm going is really nice. Like, is eyes of people, what most of the scholarship bodies are looking on, or what, because I've applied for some scholarship, no response and all the rest. So I don't know if it's from my SOP or the course I'm trying to emerge with my particular course, or whatever is the problem.
Okay, Darlington, is that something you wanted to tackle, any of the speakers? But I think his question is more about like asking your take on his research space.
Okay, again, it depends on, you don't have only the SOP for that. You have your CV, although of course the SOP is where you want to tell them why you are doing this switch. You want to really argue your case. What I would do when I'm writing for that kind of situation, it's, you claim that you want to use your mathematical models for biology. Okay, there should be already existing work. So you want to cite that work. It's not out of place to cite works in statement of purpose. You can like put citations in statement of purpose. So you want to get that work. You want to know how what you have and where you are going to. You want to see the bridge, and then you want to tell the committee that, okay, this is the bridge that I have to cross over. But even in all of this argument, you also need to be sure that the department you are putting this thing to, they can help you cross that bridge. Because if you show them this bridge and then there is nobody there that is interested in what you say you want to do, they will not respond to you, obviously. So what you say you want to do is the department helping people cross that kind of bridge. Okay, so if they are not, It does not even matter the citations you put here. I think the scholars earlier mentioned it. It's fit. Okay, your SOP should fit what the program objective says they want to give or whom they are looking for. And then if it is fitting, obviously, then you could then start from there to know if it's a problem of how you are presenting it or not. Or if you are saying something outside, you might not get a response.
Yeah, can I also add that? So I agree with what you said about, I think generally all research interests are nice. I don't think there's any research that I would say, is it nice or not? I think everything that you're interested in is nice, but being a fit is what matters. And that thing that can be confusing is when you tend to focus more on the program name than the program content. So what I mean is that because you are moving from, what programs are you looking at? Are you looking at mathematics programs? Are you looking at programs in biomedical science? So instead of saying, oh, I'm moving from mathematics to biomedical science, the best place, so you maybe think that a master's in biomedical science, a program that has the name MSc biomedical science is where you need to go. It might surprise you to see that there might be somebody in a mathematics department that is doing what you need to do. So instead of looking at only the program name, look at the content, look at the research of each faculty members that you might still be able to do what you are doing in mathematics. You might be able to do it in applied mathematics. You might be able to do it in a biomedical science program. So being a fit is what matters, not just that's what will help you to know where you are transitioning to and the programs that you need to move into. So when you are looking at schools, we already did a job on that. Don't focus only on the title of the program, that the program is a biomedical science program or the program is a chemistry program. Look at the contents. Will they be able to help you to achieve your research interest in that particular program? I can do drug discovery in chemistry. I can do drug discovery in biology. I can do drug discovery in, a lot of fields, but which one of these fields has my research interest? The program that has my research interest is what you should apply to.
Okay, permit me to add, like when you are switching from one field to another, you need to show, I can use the word, you need to show evidence that you can actually excel in this field you are switching to. Yeah, in PDN, say evidence must be, and you need to show a form of evidence. And how can you show evidence? Two things: skills and certifications, and experience. How do you get the skills and certification? Online, Coursera, YouTube. Just go there, learn something relating to what you want to do, your research. Go and learn the skills. Maybe you need MATLAB, you need Python, you need machine learning. Go and learn it. If you say you have these skills and this is what I've done, this is my GitHub account, they will go there, they will check, they'll be impressed that, wow, oh, we'd like to hear this guy, or we'd like to hear this person. Then for the experience, you can take up a volunteering work. I think somebody said he worked in a lab, then they want to see, oh, you've done something. They just want to see an evidence. You've worked in a lab before. If he has worked in a lab, he will know, he can find his way around, or he will know one or two things relating to this. So you just need to show some level of, some evidence that, oh, I'm moving from here, but I've been working in this line and I can excel in this career path. Like I said before, the professors want you to add value to them too. As they're adding value to you, they want you to add value to their research group and to what they are doing. So the only way they can know you will add value is if you show evidence. So that's what I have to say.
And that is great. Thank you for buttressing that as well, Chibuzo, Praise, and Darlington. This is where we call it a day. Blessing, I do not think I saw a question in the chat. I wanted to take that. So can you go ahead and ask the one and final question we'll take for today, Blessing? Blessing there?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay.
Quick one, please. I just want to confirm if adding stuff like links to your SOP, especially aside your CV. Okay, probably links related to some specifications, specific things which you've done probably on your LinkedIn, evidences, like as just mentioned by the last speaker. will it make sense if you attach some stuff like that to write in your SOP? Okay, I've been involved in this, and okay, let's take volunteering for example. Oh, I was involved in this and that volunteering in line with whatever I'm going for. Does it make sense to add that to your CV and or SOP? That's my question.
For me, I don't think it wasn't quite clear. So are you saying adding links in your SOP to some things that would make you good candidate? Is that what you're saying? Adding links in your SOP, is that what you're saying?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So Darlington, did you get that?
Okay.
Putting links in your SOP that leads to an external source of maybe something you have done. Say for instance, if you are, I think your SOP should be like a comprehensive thing that doesn't lead to any other thing else. Like, can you write an SOP that says, I have done this, and this, and if you look at this link, for instance. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Like if you have an SOP, for instance, and say you are someone who codes and you have written a repository of codes on maybe GitHub, for instance, and you can put on the SOP, say, if you want to see the codes I have written, go to this particular link to go and check the code I have written, or maybe put it, I think it's good in your CV.
So I think CV too.
CV.
I did a lot of that. Anything you can link on CV, link it. Even if it's, if you research in the lab, for example, and you think that they can see your lab online, there's a way you don't have to add an additional link. You can just make the text linked.
A hyperlink,
so that when they click on the text, it goes to a link.
Yes.
Anything you can link on your CV, link it. Whatever link you want to do it on your CV.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's great. And on the part of we've gotten this question 2-3 times. I always try to say, I think find out an answer, make your CV a page or 2 pages at maximum. I think the font size would also matter, the spacing you put on the CV would also matter, but your goal should always be to try to let your CV do the job. Let it make things clear. Focus less on length and more on what is actually in the CV, not your date of birth, your height, your marital status. You get not all of that, but a lot about information that is pertinent, like President shared, all of those sections, your experience that is related to the lab and the research that you're wanting to do as well, like Chibuzo has showed us. On this note, I would like to ask if you could take 30 seconds. I know, Praise, we've probably entered into some of your final words, but 30 seconds. So what are some of the final words you would give to these scholars that are right now in the process of application? Some of them have written GRE, TOEFL, some of them have not. Some others are going to be applying to Europe, like Darlington as well. And Darlington, you also said you're looking to apply for your next steps to be in the US. I'm wishing you the very, very best as regards that. I have no doubt that you will do well and amazing. My research was also in biofuel space. I did that in Texas. I worked in biofuel for my master's degree. But I'll take some final words from you before I summarize and then I connect it. So Chibuzo, do you want to go first? Let's take it down.
Okay. So like I said, when I was ending my talk, my presentation, a quote from my mentor and pastor, Pastor Oluwatimileni Ayodeji Lucas. He says, "Awake the giant in you." Nobody will do it for you. Yes, you want to go to grad school, you want to do this, but people can only guide you. People can only give you advice, encourage you, but the bulk of the work lies in your hands. So don't give any, excuses are not admissible. They are not allowed. So just take it serious, play your own part, and do your best. Don't look at, I'm not so good at that. No, by God's grace, God will give you the grace. And if you are working, just find time. Let the gain of let the vision of what you will gain take away the temporary pain that you may be facing at the moment.
Yes.
And go ahead and apply. And I believe that God will favor you. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Chibuzo. Thank you very much. Praise, take it up.
All right. So I would just advise that anyone who is discouraged by failure at this point should not give up. I did not get my admission on my first try. I had to apply again in another cycle to get my admission. And so if you had been trying and trying and trying again, I would just encourage that you should not give up. And then I will link it up to something I forgot to say about your referees. Keep in touch, because you've gotten one letter. doesn't mean you now cut off communication. Let them know everything that is going, because if I had cut off communication and then I needed to apply again, or even though you might get your admission, I'm in the US, I still needed to reach out to one of my lecturers in Nigeria. And, oh, I need advice on this and this. I want to decide this. What do you think? So keep in touch with everyone who has helped you in every phase of your application. You don't know where they might be helpful again in the future. So, yeah.
Thank you very much. And Darlington, final words as well?
Okay, for me, I think I remember when I had my interview, the professor asked me, "You have been away from school for 5 years now. Can you come back to academics?" Every day while I go to the shower to take my bath and I'm having a class, I remember that question. Sometimes of course, you don't always feel like studying, and then the question comes back, can you still come back to academics? True, one of my biggest concern was my gap year. I had my CGPA, it was good. I didn't know much about graduate school application, and that is why I feel this opportunity is a treasure trove for even undergraduates who could start getting informed about these opportunities that is out there for them. So I didn't know much. I was just doing my thing, getting the good results. And then when I saw a friend leave for study abroad, I was like, okay, so I can do this because I couldn't go for service immediately after graduation. And then I was like, okay, I made first class, and I was telling everybody in my application I made first class, but that didn't go anywhere. Okay, so what did I do after time had passed? Like, it's now 4 years, getting to 5 years, and no active study. I had to reach out back. So I was not in a lab per se doing research, but remotely, I learned how to. It was more like the first time I was using statistical tools for the first time, P-test, F-test. So I was using design expert software. I was getting analytical experimental data. I was performing ANOVA analysis. I was doing research. I had to write a review literature within this time space. I was just into active research. And then when I saw my program, I was like, this is the program for me, So you might not get the opportunity of even getting a lab. There is something you can do. Coursera is there. Reach out to past professors, tell them of your interests, do something little, just keep making progress, and then eventually when you find that perfect program, you realize how little things you think are nothing can be what really amounts to much in that application you are making. Okay, I think my application was a 5 on a 5.0 scale, and then I got, I think, a 4.8 something, and I'm like, what did I use in this application that I got a 4.8 to be admitted into the program?
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Darlington. Thank you for these reassuring words. Thank you because it's needed. It's needed for people to just be able to know you're being reassured. Keep going, keep pushing. The break is going to come, and keep it. Thank you, Praise. Thank you, Chibuzo. Thank you for these 200 golden minutes on a Saturday that you've given to be for us to have the session. I'd like to recap. Chibuzo starting out saying, make web searches your friend, and make sure that everything that you're doing, you're trying to be strategic about your application, spread your nest, have a diversified list, and keep track of it, like have that order. And then Praise coming up, and you're trying to say in the middle of all of the muffling noises and everything, try to be clear about what you want to do. Told us about the structure of the CV, what you should work on for your recommendation letter. One of the things I liked that Praise you said, the Darlington said, your school's requirement is of utmost importance. That what your school needs, what they say on the page, that's what your focus should be. Make sure you are addressing and attacking that question. And so one of Darlington's final words that I had reinforced today, you know where you are at right now. You can identify where you want to go, and then find out what do you need to do to get you to be where you want to get to, and then work on that right now. You cannot change all of what has happened to you so far, but you can definitely have a say as regards what your next steps would be. Like Chibuzo said, what courses you can take, what you can do to get you from where you are right now to where you're wanting to be. And so thank you very much for this repertoire of good words, of solid words, of great advice that should definitely help you in your bid to want to ace the graduate school application process, whether it's to the US or to several other parts of Europe, because you can always use Word formats, tweak it, and make sure you're finding out what works best for what you're wanting to do. So Thank you very, very much again, Chibuzo, Praise, and Darlington. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Thank you very much, all of our audience, for joining. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for the interaction. This will have been a success without you, and thank you for having been there. Thank you for asking the questions that we all provided answers to. Faidat, you do not see her, but she's the reason why everything is rolling and everything is working. Thank you, Faidat. Thank you, Mercy, for all of the organization and helping everything to work out up until where we are right now. And thank you, Goshen, as well, for all of the support to make this possible. So those are the final words for me. My final words are always about thank you. And I really, really want to let you know I am very thankful for having come along us to be able to work on this and deliver these